What did Hyunbin and Ye-jin do to cause this reaction? Imagine a night where love stories on screen pale in comparison to the real-life drama unfolding off it, as Korea's golden couple claims the spotlight, only to find themselves under a storm of scrutiny that could redefine an entire awards legacy. The 46th Blue Dragon Film Awards, held under the glittering chandeliers of a Seoul auditorium on November 19, 2025, promised to celebrate the pinnacle of cinematic excellence. Yet it delivered something far more electric: a raw collision between adoration and outrage. Hyunbin and Ye-jin, the enviable duo whose whirlwind romance blossomed from the set of Crash Landing on You into a fairy tale marriage complete with a cherubic son, stepped onto that stage not just as individual triumphs, but as a united front, sweeping Best Actor, Best Actress, and popularity honors in a sweep that felt both poetic and profoundly polarizing. It's the kind of moment that tugs at the heartstrings. One can't help but smile at the sight of Hyunbin's tender dedication in his acceptance speech, whispering gratitude to his wife and their little one, a quiet anchor in the chaos of fame. Yet, beneath that warmth simmers a discomfort, a nagging whisper that fame's glow might be blinding the scales of true merit. As the envelopes were torn open, Hyunbin's name echoed through the hall for his portrayal of Ahn Jung-geun in Harbin, a gripping historical thriller that plunges viewers into the frozen underbelly of 1909 Manchuria. The film, directed by Woo Min-ho, reimagines the life of the Korean independence activist whose audacious assassination of Japanese resident general Ito Hirobumi became a symbol of unyielding resistance. Hyunbin embodies Ahn with a steely resolve, his broad shoulders hunched against blizzards, both literal and metaphorical, eyes flickering with the quiet fury of a man who knows his path leads to martyrdom. There's an undeniable charisma to his performance, a subtle layering of vulnerability beneath the hero's facade. Moments where Ahn's hand trembles not from cold, but from the weight of futures unborn. Watching it, you feel a swell of pride for how he captures the era's desperation, the way his voice cracks ever so slightly in clandestine meetings, evoking the ghosts of a colonized nation's silenced screams. But here's where the ache sets in. In a year brimming with transformative turns, does this steady, reliable portrayal truly eclipse the fireworks elsewhere? It's like savoring a perfectly brewed cup of tea. Comforting, yes, but leaving you yearning for the storm of a double espresso. Ye-jin's victory, meanwhile, arrives via No Other Choice, a taut domestic drama laced with moral ambiguities, where she slips into the skin of a devoted wife, navigating the treacherous waters of her husband's shadowy dealings. Directed by a rising auteur whose previous work dissected the fractures in modern families, the film unfolds in the humid haze of a provincial town, where secrets fester like untreated wounds. Ye-jin's character, a pillar of quiet strength, isn't the explosive force driving the narrative. She's the emotional ballast, her subtle glances and restrained gestures propping up the central conflict spearheaded by Lee Byung-hun's brooding anti-hero. There's elegance in her restraint, a soft-spoken confrontation in the kitchen that lingers longer than any shout, her fingers twisting a dishcloth as unspoken betrayals unravel. It stirs a deep empathy, this woman caught in the crossfire of loyalty and survival, reminding us of Ye-jin's gift for illuminating the unsaid, those fragile threads holding lives together. Yet, as the credits rolled for many, a hollow note rang out. With screen time hovering around a third of the runtime, and her arc serving more as an emotional echo than a thunderous crescendo, does this polished support act warrant the crown of Best Actress? It's a performance that warms the soul, but one that leaves you pondering if the award's pedestal feels a touch too lofty, casting a shadow of unease over her well-earned applause. The backlash, igniting like dry tinder across platforms from the coup to fervent forum threads, isn't born of malice, but from a collective gasp at what feels like an inversion of artistry's hierarchy. Netizens, those digital sentinels of public pulse, murmur with a mix of disbelief and wry humor. Has the Blue Dragon become the Ye-jin fan club gala? One quips, capturing the sentiment that ripples through heated discussions. It's disheartening, really, to witness such fervor turn inward, where admiration for the couple's off-screen harmony clashes with a hunger for unassailable craft. Hyun, ever the stoic leading man from war-torn epics like Confidential Assignment to heartfelt romances, delivers in Harbin a portrayal that's impeccably groomed. His chiseled features conveying resolve without excess, his movements economical yet evocative of Ahn's calculated risks. But in a field teeming with audacious reinventions, it lands as competent rather than revelatory, a safe harbor when the seas demand a rogue wave. I find myself torn, replaying scenes where his intensity simmers but never boils over, wondering if the role's historical reverence boxed him into measured waters, denying the raw eruption that could have etched it into legend. Enter the rivals, a constellation of luminaries whose snubs amplify the discord like a dissonant chord in a symphony. Park Jung-min, that chameleon of Korean screens, unleashes a visceral metamorphosis in The Roundup Punishment, slipping into the grease-slicked hide of a vengeful enforcer whose every tick screams transformation. From his breakout in Extreme Job to the soul-bearing vulnerability of Phantom, Park has long been the actor who devours roles whole, emerging changed and charging audiences with electric unease. His work here, a brutal ballet of rage and redemption amid underground fight rings, pulses with an authenticity that makes your pulse quicken. Sweat beading on his brow, not from exertion alone, but from the character's unraveling psyche. It's the sort of performance that haunts, leaving you unsettled in the best way, fists clenched in vicarious fury. To see it overlooked stirs a quiet indignation, a sense that the awards gaze drifted from the grit to the glamour. And it pains me to think of Park's quiet nod from the audience, masking what must be a sting sharper than any on-screen blow. Seoul Kyung-gu, the venerable sage of the silver screen, brings his trademark gravitas to The Plot, a labyrinthine tale of espionage and betrayal that twists through Seoul's neon-veined underbelly. With decades etched into his furrowed brow, from the heart-wrenching paternalism of Peppermint Candy to the unhinged menace of Silenced, Seoul doesn't just act, he inhabits, his every pause pregnant with unspoken histories. In this film, his agent's fractured loyalty manifests in micro-expressions that betray worlds. A fleeting shadow across his eyes during a midnight rendezvous, the gravel in his voice cracking under feigned indifference. It's masterful, a reminder of why he's the North Star for aspiring thespians, and overlooking him feels like dimming a beacon, leaving the ceremony's highlights oddly subdued. Jo Jung-suk too crashes the gate with My Daughter is a Zombie, a genre-bending horror comedy where he juggles paternal panic and apocalyptic absurdity with infectious zeal. Known for his melodic charm in musicals and the sly wit of Hospital Playlist, he here morphs into a harried dad wielding a baseball bat against the undead, his comic timing laced with genuine terror that tugs at the gut. The film's blend of gore and guffaws owes its heartbeat to him, and his absence from the winner's circle evokes a chuckle-tinged sorrow. How does one sideline such a vibrant force without the night feeling a shade less alive? Son Ye-jin's contender, Lee Hae-young in Paga, stands as a towering rebuke to the decision's whimsy. Paga, a searing exploration of generational trauma in a crumbling rural estate, casts Lee as a matriarch whose iron will masks a lifetime of suppressed grief. A veteran whose resume spans from the tender maternal roles in the classic to the fierce intellect of the world of the married, she wields silence like a scalpel, her performance a slow burn inferno that consumes without fanfare. In one pivotal sequence, Her character's confrontation with a long-lost heir unfolds in the dim flicker of lantern light, words withheld speaking volumes of betrayal and resilience. It's the kind of acting that reshapes your understanding of restraint as power. To many, this was the frontrunner, a role that not only anchors the film, but propels its emotional core, demanding the recognition Ye-jin's more peripheral turn couldn't quite claim. The irony bites deeper with Lee Byung-hun, Hyun Bin's fellow Harbin alum, and Ye-jin's co-star in No Other Choice, whose magnetic intensity as the beleaguered husband in the latter film carries the narrative's moral weight. From his smoldering villainy in the Magnificent Seven remake to the layered regret of Inside Men, Byung-hun is a force of nature, his scenes in No Other Choice crackling with unspoken menace that elevates every frame. But he walks away empty-handed while his on-screen spouse ascends to Best Actress? It's the stuff of Greek tragedy, fueling whispers of favoritism that make the stomach churn with uneasy laughter. At the heart of this maelstrom lies the Blue Dragon's voting apparatus, a hybrid beast of 8 jury ballots fused with one potent netizen vote, a mechanism intended to democratize acclaim, but now accused of tilting toward the tidal wave of fandom. The jury, a cadre of critics, directors, and scholars whose deliberations unfold in smoke-filled rooms of discourse, tallied closely, their splits forcing the public's digital decree to tip the scales. This netizen block, aggregated through the Celeb Champ app in a frenzy of taps and swipes from October 21st to November 18th, carries the heft of a single vote, yet sways outcomes in razor-thin margins, turning the ceremony into a popularity proxy that rankles purists. It's a system echoing the award's evolution since its 1962 inception, when it honored black and white pioneers like Shin Sang-ok through eras of military censorship to today's streaming saturated landscape. Back then, verdicts were ironclad, jury-driven edicts. Now, with K-cinema's global boom via Netflix juggernauts like Squid Game, public input aims to mirror the masses. But in this edition, it exposes fractures. No category boasted unanimous jury accord, leaving ties to the whims of viral campaigns and fan-driven, rose-buying marathons on the app. One can't suppress a sigh at the poetry gone awry. Intended as inclusion, it morphs into a mirror reflecting celebrity wattage over nuanced craft, leaving a bitter aftertaste amid the confetti. The couple's real-life allure only fans these flames, their 2022 nuptials a cultural phenomenon that spawned endless Ye-jin memes and merchandise empires. From co-starring as star-crossed lovers parachuting into the DMZ to welcoming their son amid a media blackout that only heightened the mystique, Hyun Bin and Ye-jin embody aspirational bliss, his chivalrous whispers at events, her radiant poise in interviews, a partnership that outshines most scripts. Yet, this very fairy tale now casts long shadows over their wins. Netizens jest, "It's less about the roles and more about the ring." A barb that stings because it grazes truth. Hyunbin's dedication, eyes misting as he credits Ye-jin for grounding his Harbin prep amid fatherhood's joys, tugs at the romantics in us all. It's pure, unfiltered love in a town of facades. But the counterpoint lingers. Does their supernova status eclipse deserving underdogs, turning merit into an afterthought? It's a melancholy reflection, evoking the loneliness of peaks scaled too swiftly, where applause mingles with doubt like fog over Han River dawns. Delving deeper into Harbin, the film's strengths lie in its atmospheric immersion, the crunch of snow under boots, the acrid bite of gunpowder in hidden bunkers, crafting a visceral tribute to Korea's independence struggle. Woo Min-ho, fresh off the cerebral The Man Standing Next, weaves historical fidelity with cinematic flair, enlisting consultants from the Ahn Jung-geun Memorial Hall to authenticate every rifle's gleam and decree's timbre. Hyun Bin's immersion was Herculean. He shed pounds for the role, enduring sub-zero shoots in Gangwon province that tested metal akin to Ahn's own trials. Jeon-yo-bin, as his steadfast comrade, adds a fierce counterpoint, her gaze a blaze of defiance that complements Bin's brooding core. Yet, critiques whisper of emotional shallowness. Ahn's inner tempests, drawn from diaries brimming with philosophical musings on justice, surface in Bin's delivery as polished poise rather than primal torment. It's aesthetically arresting, those piercing stares amid torchlit plots, but lacks the guttural depth that could have mirrored the activist's documented wrestles with doubt. Park Jung-min's antagonist, a cunning Japanese officer, steals breaths with his oily charm, a reminder of how ensemble synergy can overshadow a lead's steadiness. This dynamic breeds resentment. Why crown the captain when the crew's chorus resonates louder? It evokes a quiet frustration, like cheering a marathon's frontrunner only to learn they rode the draft of giants. No Other Choice, in contrast, thrives on interpersonal fissures, a chamber piece where alliances shatter like fine porcelain under pressure. Lee Byung-hun anchors as a mid-level operative entangled in corporate espionage, his wife's world upended by leaked files and midnight calls. Ye-jin's evolution from homemaker to reluctant co-conspirator unfolds in stolen moments, a hesitant alliance with a hacker in a rain-lashed cafe, her voice steadying as alibis fray. The film's taut 110-minute runtime amplifies her contributions, though critics note her arc as an extension of Byung-hun's descent, a vital thread, but not the loom itself. Drawing from real scandals that rocked chaebol empires in the 2010s, the script probes complicity's cost, with Ye-jin's subtle unraveling, nails bitten to stubs, smiles fracturing at dinner tables, mirroring the quiet erosions of trust in everyday lives. It's profoundly relatable, stirring a pang of recognition for those who've shouldered others' storms, yet the backlash deems it insufficiently seismic for Best Actress. Lee Hye-young's Paga rebuttal looms large. Her character's arc, from widowed landowner to vengeful unifier of fractured kin, spans the film's emotional spectrum with unerring precision. Her monologues in ancestral halls echoing like thunder over rice paddies. It's the performance of a lifetime, raw and revelatory, leaving one to mourn the what-ifs, the paths not taken in judging's labyrinth. The netizen chorus, a cacophony of candor, paints this edition as the awards' nadir, dubbing it a fame fest where star power trumps subtlety. Threads abound with pleas for overhaul. Ditch the gimmick, let craft crown kings. And ironic toasts to the year popularity wore acting's mask. One forum sage laments, Hyun shone, but in that galaxy, a candle, not the sun. Capturing the consensus that his Harbin's solidity pales against Park's pyrotechnics or Seoul's seismic presence. For Ye-jin, the verdict softens to sympathy. She deserved better material, not this mismatched metal, acknowledging her polish while decrying the category's mismatch. The same film irony with Byung-hun sparks frenzied memes, photoshops of him photobombing her speech, captions quipping, "Carried the film, carried the snub." It's starkly comic, this frenzy, evoking schadenfreude's guilty thrill, yet it underscores a deeper malaise. When awards devolve into echo chambers of hype, do they honor cinema or commodify it? The Blue Dragon, once a bastion of bold picks like Bong Joon-ho's early nods, now grapples with relevance in an era where TikTok clips dictate discourse. Broader ripples touch the industry's soul, igniting debates on leading versus supporting delineations that echo Hollywood's own Oscar skirmishes. Is a role's lead status screen time's dictate or narrative thrust's domain? Ye-jin's win revives queries akin to those shadowing Viola Davis's Fences acclaim. Laudable work in ancillary orbits, but does it eclipse Central Suns? Hyun-bin's case probes psychological demands. Ahn's turmoil, chronicled in letters blending Confucian ethics with revolutionary zeal, begged for a portrayal plumbing existential abysses, yet Bin's emerges as admirably contained, a veteran's poise from the swindler's heists to paternal warmths in extreme job sequels. Competitors like Jo Jung-suk's Zombie Dad Frenzy, blending Reply 1988 nostalgia with Parasite-esque bite, set bars vertiginous. His pratfalls amid apocalypse evoking belly laughs laced with chills, a feat demanding Best Actor reverence. Seoul Kyung-goo's The Plot intrigue, with its labyrinth of loyalties mirroring old boy's coiled rage, underscores veteran snubs as cultural losses, eroding trust in tastemakers. As dust settles, the couple endures, their Instagram echoes, Ye-jin's cloud-floating reverie, Bin's sun-shaded gratitude, a balm against the barbs. It's inspiring, this resilience, a testament to art's endurance beyond verdicts. Yet the controversy lingers like cigar smoke in an emptied ballroom, prompting vows for Merit's revival. Juries expanded, netizen weights recalibrated, categories clarified. For now, it leaves a bittersweet afterglow, admiration for Bin-jin's bond tempered by a call for equity, reminding us that true stardom shines not in trophies clutched, but in legacies etched unforgettably. In the end, perhaps the real award is the dialogue sparked, a nation's cinephiles united in passion, debating not just who won, but what winning truly means in a world where hearts and headlines collide.